Alright, time to talk polynomials. So like I said before, this should be mostly review, but some of it's a little bit difficult and some of it was a while ago. I know you did this in Algebra 2 last year, every single one of you. If it's in your brain after that long layoff, who knows? So, just so you know, 1. Usually I avoid having my shadow in the bottom corner, but that's my hand. To add or subtract polynomials, you're just going to combine the like terms, but you don't add the exponents. That's the biggest mistake people make. Do not add the exponents together. So if I have 6x squared plus 2x minus 3, parentheses, plus parentheses, 4x squared minus 6x plus 3, you're looking for those x squareds. They're the same. You're going to add them. 6x squareds plus 4x squareds give you 10x squareds. 2x plus a negative 6x is a negative 4x, and a negative 3 plus a positive 3 equals 0, meaning once you add those together, you get 10x squared minus 4x, and you're done. You don't try to combine those. I've seen people do that too. Please do not do that. That is your answer. Watch out when there's a subtraction. And when I say you got to distribute the negative, it's kind of confusing as to what I mean. But basically that means that negative in the middle, I feel like you're missing half my hand gestures. That negative in the middle has got to go to all three of those second numbers. So 4x squared minus 2x squared. So that's minus equals 2x squared. Negative 2x minus positive 3x. So that negative is going with the 3. So negative 2x minus 3x. 3x is negative 5x. And then 7 minus negative 9. So just once again, be careful. It's a minus a negative. That negative has to stay. Equals 16, giving you 2x squared minus 5x plus 16. Otherwise, you're just adding here. The exponents stay the same. Just watch out for negatives. And I know you can all add. I've seen you all do it. Multiplying really just means you're distributing. And you got to remember some of those exponent rules from the last section. So basically, multiply the coefficients, those big numbers, because that's just 6 times 3, which is 18. But when you have the exponents, you add them together. So 2 plus 2 is 4, which is why it's x to the 4th. 4 plus 1 is 5, that's why it's y to the 5th. Don't forget that invisible 1. Then you do the second one. 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. 2 plus 1 is 3, x to the 3rd. 4 plus 1 is 5, y to the 5th. So you're just multiplying. I like to draw lines. It helps me remember what I'm multiplying. Especially once you get more terms, it gets a little more confusing. So now you can get sets with 2 different terms in each one. There's a word you can use, and maybe some of you have used it, FOIL. You could also double distribute. I know that's what Mr. Horn liked to teach a lot because that's what you're doing. It all ends up being the same thing. So I just draw lines to help me remember. So 2x times 3x is 6x squared. 2x times positive 5 is a positive 10x. 3 times 3x is positive 9x. 3 times 5 is 15. Now, once you do that, you've got to see if there's any like terms. So if there's a 10x and a 9x, you combine those together, you end up with 19x. So your answer is 6x squared plus 19x plus 5. Leave it like that. Once again, don't try to combine anything like that at all. So if you notice on this one, the first group has 2 things, the second group has 3 things. So this is why I said I like to draw the lines to make sure I know what I've multiplied together. So 3x times x squared is 3x cubed. 3x times negative 3x is negative 9x squared, because x times x is x squared. And then 3x times 7 is 21x positive. Now, I like to do it this way. When I did the negative 4 times x squared, I got x squared. So I just put it underneath the other x squared that I had before. This is just going to help me add them together at the end. You can do it horizontally if you want. You don't have to. For me, it's just easier to see. Negative 4 times negative 3x squared is negative 4 times negative 3x is positive 12x, and then negative 4 times 7 is negative 28. Then you add them together. What was I doing here? I've already written it down. Do any of you get motion sick? Because if so, I'll stop. Add straight down, and if there's nothing, it stays the same. So 3x cubed, negative 9x squared plus negative 4x squared is negative 13x squared. 21x plus 12x is 33x. The negative 28 alone, so it stays negative 28. If you have x plus 7 squared, or if I had like x minus 7 squared, basically squared means just write it out twice. There is a formula you can use, but I find it's easier just to write it out twice as x plus 7, x plus 7. Then just multiply it like you've just been doing. You get x squared plus 14x plus 49. And if you want to just memorize a formula, tell me. You can comment on this or tell me when we're in Zoom, and I can give you the formula. Now, a plus b times a minus b. This is called the difference of squares. If you multiply this out, a times a is a squared. A times negative b is negative ab. B times a is ab, because you can just rearrange it, and then b times negative b is negative b squared. The thing is, since one's a negative ab and the other one's a positive ab, they cancel out always, leaving just a squared minus b squared. That's why it's called the difference of squares. Difference means subtract, and it's an a squared and a b squared. The middles will always cancel out if it's an a plus b, a minus b. So if those numbers are the same in both of those parentheses, except for there's a plus in the middle of one and a minus in the middle of the other one, all you really have to do is look at the first two number. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. And then 5 times negative 5 is negative 25. Don't even worry about the middle if you don't want to. It'll cancel. Now, you could just do it. If you don't want to memorize that, you could do it. The middle will cancel. You'll be fine. It's just when we start going backwards, which is the next step, and doing factoring, it's if you have this memorized, it makes it a little bit simpler. And, yeah. And then we're going to factoring next. And, we are done. I'm sure you're sad. Don't worry. There'll be more videos. If I can figure out. There we go.